Hello, welcome to Our Voices. I'm Ayen Bior, and today we're talking about self-care. For me, self-care is taking time for myself and taking control of the things that stress me out or seem impossible. But the beauty of self-care is that it's different for all of us. For some, it might mean cutting off toxic people, writing down and visualizing goals, and figuring out your financial situation. For others, it means indulgence and pampering yourself, running marathons, practicing yoga, singing, or dancing. For the next 30 minutes, we'll focus on ourselves. What does self-care mean for you? What are your needs? How can we take control and get our anxiety under control? Let's start this conversation by speaking about something that many of us are taught to never speak about: our money. As we think about self-care, we don't often include our financial health, but leading experts say that financial well-being is the ultimate version of self-care. As we hear from Adeng Buok, financial well-being is not about having a lot of money. Like anything with self-care, it's about taking control.
What I think financial well-being is it's having financial security and being able to manage your financial obligations. Now, your other question is it part of self-care? And yes, because I think a lot of financial instability carries a lot of weight when it comes to our well-being. It can pose a lot of stress. So I do think that is part of self-care. And your other question about my advice for somebody who is trying to, stay on top of their finances is, well, first examine your finances. Try to decrease your spending, maintain a good debt to income ratio. The recommendation is 36% or less. And actually, maybe having some kind of spreadsheet and writing out those items and just trying to stay on top of that. I think that's key to know what's coming in and what's going out. When you write everything out and you see how much you're spending, that really put things into perspective. So you can, when you total it out and see that you're spending way more than the income that is coming in, that really pushes you to try to reduce your spending. And so it's a good way to stay on track.
Great advice there. Now, let me ask you a question. How many times does your phone ring during the day? Social media, WhatsApp, friends and family pinging you all day. It's a great way to connect, but it can also be stressful and addictive, as we hear in this next report. In the last few months, many of us turned to the screens of our digital devices to get the latest information on COVID-19. As countries locked down and enforced social distancing measures, a desire for human connection grew. And as it grew, so did traffic for social media sites like WhatsApp and live video chat sites like Zoom. While social media can be positive for mental health, particularly in recent months, psychologists and researchers have also warned that the overuse of social media could lead to mental health issues like anxiety or depression, and it can also put users at risk of obesity, according to Harvard professor Stephen Gortmaker. One explanation is a surge in cell phone usage in recent years, particularly in adolescence, which could lead to insomnia. Insomnia could then trigger psychological issues. But there are simple steps that people can take to develop a healthy online presence, says the professional organizers in Canada. Simple things like turning off push notifications, deleting apps you don't use, and purging your friends list on sites like Facebook could give you a boost. It also says limiting your exposure by only posting milestones rather than day-to-day activities could help users maintain a healthy relationship with the internet. Now, let's examine self-care and exercise. And I know, I too have been procrastinating on exercising. My couch has become my best friend, and I'm months overdue for my weekly runs. But there's no such thing as self-care if we're not taking care of our bodies, and exercise is a critical part of that. So much so that the government in Ghana is urging citizens to take their health seriously and regularly exercise amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Although social distancing is making going to the gym a challenge, health experts say fancy equipment is not needed. Gyms and personal trainers have switched to online exercise classes, while a popular Ghanaian bodybuilder promotes using everyday items to exercise from anywhere during the pandemic. Stacey Knott reports from Accra.
Before the COVID-19 pandemic, this gym in the Ghanaian capital would see up to 130 members per day. But with fewer people using the gym, PIPPA'S Health Centre is now also offering online classes and aerobics using Azonto, a Ghanaian dance.
Azonto is something that, the kids can do at home, mom can do, grandma, grandpa, everybody can get involved as a family event. So we thought it would just be a fun, light way of getting people up, because we know, again, during C-19, a lot of people have become couch potatoes, sitting down, much less active.
Ghana's government is stressing fitness as a way to stay healthy against COVID-19. Gyms have reopened in Ghana, but bodybuilder and schoolteacher Samuel Kilbilla says the pandemic shouldn't stop people around the world from working out. He created a home workout guide online and has a global following on social media.
I started getting a lot of messages, DMs and emails, people telling me to help them because their gyms have been closed, and they normally see me training at the kind of backyard gyms, and they believe I can fix something.
Before COVID-19 hit Ghana, fitness coach and mother of two, Mabena Antry, held boot camps for women. She also moved her coaching online and enjoys working from home as she can spend more time with her kids.
Okay, you guys, it's okay, bye-bye. I'm home, so, I'm able to, give them a little bit more of attention and still work, even though it's not, fetching as much, it is still very lucrative and it's good. And I'm looking at definitely keeping the online classes.
These Ghanaian fitness coaches have made the best out of social distancing to promote exercise online. But they also hope the motivation and encouragement from the government to stay fit will continue once the pandemic is over. Stacey Knott for VOA News, Accra.
Wow, I'm really inspired, and I'm going to take that advice and finally get some regular exercise. So important. Now, I'm an amateur athlete. Like most of us, I exercise to feel healthy. But imagine being a professional during these times. South African gymnast Rooskrantz was looking forward to living her childhood dream of representing her country at the Olympics in Tokyo this year. Then the unthinkable happened. The coronavirus pandemic forced a year-long delay of the Tokyo Games. It was a shock and a serious challenge, but also a mixed blessing. She spoke to VOA's Anita Powell in Johannesburg.
At the beginning of this year, Rooskrantz was flying high. The 18-year-old had just become the first woman since 2004 to represent South African artistic gymnastics at the Olympics. Rooskrantz ramped up her training in anticipation of the Games. But then, the global coronavirus pandemic took over, and the International Olympic Committee postponed the Games until 2021.
Yeah, like I said, it was a really big shocker to me, but if you think about it deeper, it is at the best interest of all the athletes, it's for the best of our health. So, and if you look, you always try and look for the positive in everything, and it's bumped a whole year later. So now we do have more time to prepare.
The Olympic delay came just days before South Africa began a 5-week coronavirus lockdown, which included closing all gyms in an attempt to slow the spread. Gone are the daily 8 hours of training at the Johannesburg Gymnastics Center. Now she trains at home for about 3.5 hours each day.
In gymnastics, a year can make a really big difference, but I'm really hoping that in this year, that now before the Olympics, that my main goal is definitely to stay injury-free, keep that out of the picture and just really focus on trying to upgrade my skills.
But the hardest thing, she says, is something everyone can identify with going through this pandemic: the isolation.
I've really just struggled not being able to be with my gym family every day. Since I can remember, I've been training for 6 days a week, every week, and I see them every day. They are literally like family to me, you know. So to be able to have not seen them for, I think it's going on maybe 7-8 weeks now, you know, it's really hard.
Olympians. They're just like us. Okay, they're also extremely skilled and hardworking athletes. And in these difficult times, their Olympic dreams may be delayed, but they're still very much alive. Anita Powell, VOA News, Johannesburg.
Thank you, Anita, for that report. Coming up after the break, a look at what some are doing to address self-care in the form of mental health during this unprecedented time. But first, here's what self-care looks like to some of our viewers.
Hi everybody, my name is Njenga Madani and my self-care tactic is cooking. So I like to cook. I just cooked this right now actually, well 20 minutes ago, and it is zucchini, bell peppers, ground beef, kidney beans, a whole bunch of stuff. I've really been trying to work hard with cooking healthier meals because it helps me stay happier, healthier, better outlook on life. So that's what I do for self-care.
Trying to find little pockets of what you can do to keep yourself in control of whether it be your mind and your body, so breathing and things like that. But then also switching gears and training the brain on how to think of what you can do instead of what you can't do in your immediate future, in your life, in the moment. The biggest thing is being patient, understanding that we are going through a really traumatic time and a crisis, and also looking at the positives. A lot of people are looking at, okay, so I'm not getting a job, let's look at why that is a good thing right now. I can have more time with my family, I'll never get, hopefully never get this time again. And so trying to be grateful and appreciating all the small things.
Being part of Our Voices is about more than just sitting here and talking about women's issues. It's about listening to them
and bringing their opinions to the table and making sure their voices are heard.
Because our lived experiences, our stories, and our voices will help shape the next generation. Welcome back. You're with Our Voices, and today is all about self-care, a term that has been popularized in recent years and one that has become synonymous with mental health. Many people have reported feelings of stress and isolation as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and other world events. In Nigeria, thousands are receiving free mental health care to help address these symptoms. The program, Mentally Aware Nigeria, or MANI, was formed by psychologists and medical experts to create an environment where people can seek mental health care without fear of stigma or discrimination. Timothy Obiezu reports from Abuja.
Nigerian psychologist Aisha Abdullahi holds daily psychotherapy sessions at her home in Abuja. She is one of many psychologists and counselors responding to a significant increase in mental health problems due in part to the spread of coronavirus.
Immediately the lockdown started, especially in some states in Nigeria, there was a complete increase in the presence of people on social media. And almost every conversation, in a few conversations that you look through, you see somebody talking about a mental health issue. It's either they're experiencing fear, panic, their stress level has increased because of working from home, or they're having anxiety, or they are isolated alone, so there is feelings of loneliness and depression.
Before the pandemic ever started, the World Health Organization estimated 1 in 4 Nigerians suffered from mental health issues. Abdullahi says it's the uncertainty that's driving much of the anxiety in patients she treats.
At the moment, we still don't have much information about whether there is going to be a vaccine, when it's going to be, whether there is medication. So it's a scary situation. And obviously, even for somebody who has been taking care of their mental health, there is a lot of grief also for people who have lost loved ones, for people who have lost their means of livelihood.
The stigma attached to seeking out mental health treatment is one of the major reasons that only about 10% of Nigerians get the help they need, according to medical professionals.
I remember having a panic attack once, and I told my sister, and she laughed at me because, why should you have a panic attack? You should be a strong black woman, Nigerian woman. You should toughen up.
Mentally Aware Nigeria is trying to help people like Tara. It has introduced Project COVID, online sessions that engage viewers across the country to help them cope.
Money has really touched my life in ways that I cannot even begin to even speak about. Just doing this video alone, talking about my struggles with mental health, talking about things I had to go through, goes a lot to even show me how well I've become.
No one knows when researchers will find a vaccine for the coronavirus. Until then, Nigerian psychologists such as Abdullahi and groups like Mani will have their hands full. Timothy Obiezu for VOA News, Abuja.
That's great news from Abuja. Now to Kenya, where the Ministry of Health says the number of mental health cases, such as depression, have jumped dramatically during the coronavirus outbreak. But more Kenyans are seeking help and talking about their issues. Mohammed Yusuf reports.
Sheila Orono is meeting her counselor to get help for a mental health problem that has grown worsen in recent months.
I just wanted to be alone. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to do anything. But now I've gone back to my normal self. I can do something. I can even listen to music. Like the normal me has come back. I was heading to. But now with the therapy sessions and the need for me to come out and say that I'm suffering from bipolar, like a mental illness.
This small center in Nakuru County receives several patients suffering from different mental health issues.
And just helping them to have psychological resilience, to realize that even during this moment, during the pandemic, where there are chances of heightened depression, that it doesn't mean that it's a season that will be there forever, but then during this process they can have what we call psychological resilience for them to be able to cope and understand that they can still bounce back.
The World Health Organization defines mental health as a well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities and can cope with the normal stresses of life. This mother of three suffered COVID-19-like symptoms in March. After a few days, she was picked up by health workers dressed in protective gear.
You can see some 1, 2, 3 people understand you and talk to you or associates with you, but there are those who are so illiterate, who don't believe that you can be healed.
Frank Njenga says many Kenyans suffer mental illness without knowing it.
If you look at a family with 5 people, 2 parents and 3 children, at one point or another, one of them, at one point or another in their lives, will suffer from a mental illness of one sort or another. In other words, 20% of Kenyans, whether we like it or not, will at one point or another have a mental health need.
With the pandemic taking a toll on people's mental state, the Kenyan government is urging its citizens to seek help if they need it at this trying time. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Nakuru, Kenya.
Very glad to see that people are getting help and also speaking about mental health. Mental health impacts all of us. It does not care if you are a man or a woman, rich or poor, a grocery store clerk, or the former First Lady of the United States. That's right. Mrs. Michelle Obama recently said she was suffering from low-grade depression due to the current political climate, race relations in the US, as well as pandemic-related stress. On her Instagram account, Obama told her followers that she is doing just fine, and I'm very, very happy to hear that. Now, as we said before, self-care is about taking care of the mind and body. And in Ghana, organic food is growing in popularity as people try to stay healthy during the coronavirus pandemic. But organic produce is not easily regulated, and consumers are paying extra for unverified claims. Farmers across the region are creating their own system with support from international bodies to certify organic produce. Stacey Knott reports.
Until last year, consumers of Ghana's organic produce only had the farmer's word to back up claims of chemical-free food. To guarantee standards, farmers formed what they call a Participatory Guarantee System, or PGS, to monitor and certify each other as organic for buyers.
With PGS, it's a certificate, so it's always easier if you can say that this body, hey, you can call this body, I'm registered with them, they've certified me, so that's why I definitely want the PGS to work.
A growing demand for healthy food during the COVID-19 pandemic is a good chance to involve more farmers, says consultant Abosede Olawumi Benedict.
Many people in Ghana just say, I do organic, and they don't really have the deep understanding of what organic is. So it's been a challenge, but we kind of see a new dimension with COVID-19. So many people really want to be sure now that what they are eating is actually, that has been labeled organic, is organic.
Imported health food shop owner Ama Asafo Ajay says that more often these days customers are asking for local organic products.
People feel more comfortable just immediately looking and seeing that it's labeled organic. Just gives them that peace of mind.
There are other organic certifications in Ghana, but compared to the Participatory Guarantee System, they are expensive and aimed at exports.
PSG will really help the farmers because a lot of farmers shy away from certification. But if it is with the PSG, it's quite cheap and very, very affordable and friendly.
In West Africa, the Participatory Guarantee System is also used by farmers in Benin, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Senegal and Togo. The system is backed by the International Federation of Organic Movements from a project funded by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Stacey Knott for VOA News, Accra.
This song might be familiar to people who listen to Mali's Omu Sangare. After the break, an exclusive interview with her about how she's taking care of herself, even though the music industry has come to a standstill.
This is a country that I chose to become a citizen. I didn't have to become a citizen. I chose to become a citizen.
I feel like America gave me an opportunity to pursue my passion as an artist.
I really believe that clean eating is a way to a more successful life or a happier life, if you want to put it that way.
One of the things that helps me wake up every morning is doing better, being better.
We grew up poor, and so I'm always focused on helping the working class be able to have a more comfortable lifestyle.
I'm passionate about doing justice every day. I oftentimes say that justice is a verb, not a noun. You know, I believe in action and moving the ball forward.
Hello there, you're watching Our Voices. Now, I don't know about you, but listening to music is one of my favorite ways to unwind. And this song by Mali's Omu Sangare is an absolute gem. VOA Africa caught up with a Grammy Award-winning artist about how the pandemic has impacted the music industry and how she's coping.
Take care of yourself. To me, it's to be very careful in life, to know what to eat, watch what you eat, practice sport time to time, and take the precautions in general about your life and health.
How are you surviving under this pandemic restriction?
I am living it. It's very difficult like everyone else, but at one point you have to know how to handle it, how you can make your way to live with it until something else comes up. Since COVID started, I did 3 months locked inside the house. I couldn't come out, but at 4 months, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the studio to make new music.
So actually, can we expect new music or album you have been working on soon?
Yes, that's why I'm in the studio.
The Secretary General of the World Health Organization said more and more young people are being exposed to coronavirus. What do you say to this young people?
I asked the youth to follow the guidance of the health organization because, like they said, the virus will spread. So I asked the youth to be very careful. This will pass. It's temporary.
Ça passerait, yeah. Dernière question. We've seen Beyoncé, an American star in the music industry in USA, just recently make a collab with you using your music Mood Forever and Bambara Min Jarabi Nene. What does this mean to an African American musician interested? Le Black King, Beyoncé vient juste de faire avec les Américains.
Ça veut dire que it simply means Beyoncé returned back to her home. She went back to her home. She went back to dig in the culture. It's superb that she did it. It feels great. I am proud and I am happy that finally our brother and sisters, African Americans, are trying to go dig into the culture on the things of their ancestors.
Les anciens trucs, oui.
Voilà, dans les trucs de leurs ancêtres.
De leurs ancêtres, oui.
Voilà.
Merci beaucoup.
What a jam! This song will be on repeat all day. Thank you, Omu, for speaking with us. And that's all from us today. Thank you so much for watching. Always remember to take care of yourself, your mind, and body. Until next time, it's goodbye.
Talote se me sadere manu